Are you tired of slicing the golf ball? Don't worry, I got you. Okay, you've heard them all. I call it Advil for the golf swing. You know those tips. You didn't keep your head down. You swung too fast. You swung too slow. You didn't keep your left arm straight. Forget all that stuff and understand that golf is a game of spin. I don't care who you are. You could be Tiger Woods, you could be Rory McIlroy, you could be you. Your golf ball, when it is struck, performs in a certain fashion and it spins. So essentially golf is a game of spin. Not only does it spin end over end backwards, but it flies on an axis. Vertical, think of it this way. So if you're a right-hander, that axis is always tilted to the right when you strike the golf ball. So fixing your slice is like turning that axis, which bends right, over to the left-hand side. It's kind of like steering your car. If your car's veering to the right, you're going to turn the wheel to the left, aren't you? Well, golf shots happen the same way. It's as simple as that. The next place to look in the equation is how your club face performs. Because I don't care who you are, the golf ball only listens to the club face. It's never listened to your legs, your shoulders, your head, nothing. Here's where you talk to your golf ball. So, you see my magnetic pointer on the front of the face? This is going to show you a linear version of this. Now clearly our golf swing is orbital, but we'll get to that in a minute. So here we are. If I'm coming straight at you with a club face square, the ball's going to go there. It's got no option. If the face is open or pointing to the right for a right-hander, the ball's going to go or curve in that direction. If it's pointing to the left, the golf ball's going to go or curve in that direction. So logic would say then that if you're hitting balls to the right, your job is to get that club face to somehow eke towards the left-hand side. Now, when it comes to steering this club face and then steering the golf ball, there are three ways-ish that you can do this. First, you can see the handle. If you twist the face with a handle to the right, the ball will go to the right. If you twist the handle to the left-hand side, the face will point left and the ball will go left. If you raise the handle, notice how the pointer looks to the right. If you lower the handle, you see how the pointer looks to the left. And then there's shaft lean. If I lean the shaft forward, you see the face looks down and a little to the right. And if I lean it backward, you see how the face looks higher and to the left-hand side. So twisting, lifting, lowering, or leaning will control where this club face is going. Fixing your slice is as simple as understanding that and then applying the rules that I'm about to show you. Now, you old-timers have heard that good golf begins with a good grip. Yeah, I'm kind of one of those guys. Now, you youngsters, you've been told that just understand matchups in your golf swing. I'm going to come at it bridging the gap between both those theories. Because here's how it goes. Your hands are your only touch and communication with this club face. So how you situate them on the club is very, very important. Now there's basically two ways you can go on your spectrum. You can go strong, which for right-handers is where you rotate both your hands to the right-hand side, or you can go weak, which for right-handers is where you turn both your hands to the left-hand side. You lefties, it's just the opposite. I have this tee in my glove to illustrate the angle of this. And here's a little ditty you can remember. If your shots bend to the right, rotate both your hands to the right, then hold the club. If your shots bend to the left, we'll rotate both your hands to the left and then hold the club. Now, this doesn't have to be gigantic, just little adjustments can prove very fruitful. In fact, I recently spoke with Randy Smith, Scotty Scheffler's instructor, and they check on that grip every single time, and some very, very fine adjustments are made, not only for feel, but more importantly, for club face control, and that is why, in my opinion, he is so very good. So here we go. To me, This is a pretty standard grip where you allow your lead arm just to hang naturally from your shoulder. Notice how it turns inward. You can see on my glove where that black and white differential is. You're not a ballerina, I wouldn't think, because if you practice like that your whole life, then your arms will hang this way. No, natural for your arm is in that situation. So you want to try and get your lead hand on there in that inclination, because that means when you relax, your arm's going to extend to the situation, and look at how that faces up and down and fairly square now. So your left hand, right hand combination, that's how they mesh. Left hand holding the fingers. If you're looking down at this, you see the T looks a little upward. I can count a few knuckles. There's a V formed by thumb and forefinger. That should look somewhere around my right shoulder. Now I've got my lead hand in position, and I hold it mostly with those last three fingers. That's where the squeeze is between the fingers and the heel of my hand. Now I'm good to go, and if you watch Scotty Scheffler, you'll see him doing this every single time, and then he checks his hands. Getting your trail hand on is as simple as approaching the grip with your palm looking at the target, sliding these two middle fingers underneath there, and you can interlock, or you can overlap, or you can even 10-finger the grip if you want. I tend to go overlap because I'm kind of an old timer. Anyhow, so Scotty Scheffler goes this way. Now, as these hands blend together, notice how the thumb of my left hand fits into the palm of my right. It's almost like God is a golfer, and he's looked at you and said, check this out. See your thumb line and your lifeline there? I've given you a guide to how your hands need to fit together when you hold a golf club, because that is the perfect union between left and right. So that's neutral. That's base camp. Now, if you want to rotate to the right, you take that unit and you just rotate to the right-hand side a little bit. Notice how the V's of my hand are looking outside my right shoulder. Look how the T is looking more upward. That's if you want to stop balls slicing off to the right-hand side. And this is a slicing video. Incidentally, just for extra information, Markology, if you go in the opposite direction, left hand more underneath, right hand more over the top, a la Jordan Spieth, see the T looks more down. When I relax my arms, see how that face opens up a little bit more. So get an understanding of how you hold the golf club. And remember that poem. If your shots tend to the right-hand side, rotate your hands to the right and then hold the club. Word to the wise. Don't just go, okay, and twist your hands. Hold the club face square. Watch Scotty Scheffler. Then put your hands on there. Because I can come in here with a crooked club face, get a perfect grip, and that's no good to me, right? Because the ball goes where the club face points. Never, ever forget that. This club face, it's king. So, hands on there comfortably, get a feel for it, hold nice and tightly with the fingers, and then you're in a place to control where this club face is pointing. And remember to fix that slice. We always want this face to look a touch more to the left-hand side if you're a right-hander. If you're anything like me, you love to video your golf swing. Heck, we all can because we have a phone in our pockets. So if you're checking your golf swing and you're checking this very important club face angle, not just at address, at the top of the swing and then at impact is where you really need to pay attention. Just real fast so you understand, check this out. If I have the face closed and I swing to the top, notice how the pointer and the face look at the sky. It's kind of like I could carry a pizza up there. If the face is twisted open and I swing up to the top, notice how the face looks drooped and the pointer is looking over my shoulder. So that would be very open and that would be very closed. See, I'm twisting on the handle. So now let's look at how your wrists move. Very simply, if your wrists go up to the top and they extend a lot or cup, notice how the red T is getting closer to my forearm. That's a face opening mechanism. In contrast, if I bow the wrist or I flex it, see how that T looks at the sky and look at how the face is more closed. So if you're slicing the golf ball, you want to try and get that lead wrist to feel like it's more bowed and looking at the sky, because that's going to put you ahead of the curve in getting that club face square on the way down. If you have the face very open, you're going to have to work very, very hard somewhere in your downswing to get that face closed in time. And then it's likely that someone, maybe your professional, has said to you, hey man, you're flipping through contact. Well, the reality is that flip, the excess wristiness at contact, is not a sin. It's a guy trying to get the face square. Because if he doesn't, I promise you this thing is flying off to the right-hand side. So understand the GPS of your golf swing is your wrists. So feel like your wrists roll under the club a little bit on the way back and the face is looking at the sky. That's putting you in a place where that face has got the head start on squaring up on the way into contact. If you start browsing on the internet and you search golf swing, golf tips, anything to that effect, you're going to hear terms, buzz phrases, jargon like early extension. We'll deal with that in a future episode. Stay tuned. You'll hear things like rotation. You'll hear things like ground reaction forces. All very, very important. But remember this, where this face looks is where the golf ball is going to go. And if that ball's panning to the right-hand side, you can keep your head down until the cows come home and that ball's not going any straighter. I promise you. So again, it's about controlling the face. And there's a very important relationship between rotation, which everybody's trying to do with a bad understanding of it, and the presentation of the club face down through contact. So here's how it goes. Understand this. The relationship between the rotation of the body and the swinging of the club goes as follows. If your body out-rotates the club face, notice how the face is looking off to the right-hand side. So if you're trying to rotate through contact and you're already hitting a slice, well, you're just making life harder. You're throwing fuel on your fire. Conversely, if your palms and club outrace the body, notice how the face is shutting down prematurely. So then, logic would say that if you slice the golf ball, you may not try to rotate open as much. You may want to feel your body more passive as your arms rotate more in front of you, and look how I get that club face more closing. So if you're slicing the golf ball, quit trying to turn through the ball real hard. Swing your arms down in front of you and let that club face extend. Allow your arms to free up, and look how quickly that face is rotated over, and that means more club head speed and it means less slices. Okay, it's time for the rubber to meet the road, and now to understand the bending of the golf ball. Remember, we've figured out that the face and its inclination and alignment will cause directional impetus. Now the direction of the swing coupled with that face alignment, if you're looking on a launch monitor, it's called swing path, that's what bends the golf ball. Remember this, the face sends it, the path bends it. So if you're looking on the ground here, I have yellow, which is the ball and target line. That thing's non-negotiable. I have red, which is the outside in, over the top, you might call it, path. That's what typical slicers, right-handers, would do. On the opposite side of that is the green path, which is more of an inside-out drawing path. Now again, the golf swing is not as linear as this. We swing on angles, but you need to understand this very, very importantly. If that club is coming across the golf ball like this, along the red path, and I close the club face, that golf ball is going to be pulled and hooked low into the left-hand side. If I come in along that red path and the face is open and looking at the target, you see how the face is pointing down yellow, that ball is going to have some slicing spin on it. So you can get the face pretty square to the target, but if you're carving across that thing, that's where some of the slice comes from. Just very importantly too, you can come from the inside and get that face open, and then you hit that round ruiner where you hit some sightseer wide rights, out of bounds most likely, and it wrecks your scorecard because someone's told you, hey bro, you got to swing from the inside. So you're doing your best to do that, but doing so, now you point the glove to the top, the face falls wide open, and you hit some rocket off to the right-hand side, and you're like, why is that going right and slicing? Because I'm coming from the inside. Again, if you're swinging from the inside, that face has to be turning to square. Notice how it's looking down the yellow pointer. That is the ideal draw shot over there. So if you're swinging down and across it with a face open, that's the slice. If you're swinging inside out with a face looking at the target, that's the slice fixer. That's the draw shot. So now we want to blend this whole thing together. And the first thing I want to ask you or advocate that you do is understanding how these wrists move in space. Now you notice I'm making these little swirling orbital sort of shapes in the air with a face always looking at the target. As I do this, watch my trail wrist bends back, my lead wrist flattens off. That's a very strong place for a very square club face. So just do that a few times. Don't let the face look at the sky, because that's going to be a right shot. Always, as you're making these little circles, see how the face looks at the target. Now I'm in a place to have that face square, and if I swing to the right of that, the ball's likely to draw. Now just to show you real fast, the slice versus the draw. Now the slice would have the face open or pointing to the right hand side of the yellow line, and certainly to the right hand side of the red line. That's going to send the ball off to the right hand side. So I might be setting up here, I'm trying to keep my head down, but I'm going to swing in that fashion with a face open, and you will see the ball slice off to the right hand side. I promise you, if that face is open, you're going to have to go left to make the ball go to the target, and it's going to slice. The way you fix that, as we said right at the top of the show, was you learn to draw the golf ball. So the first thing you learn is to square up that club face. So now you want to feel like you come in across that green line with the face always closing. And if you do that, you're going to hit a draw almost right away. I promise you, you will turn the ball flat, and you can just practice like that. It doesn't have to be a full swing. It's the skill of understanding where the face is in space in relation to your swing path and certainly the target line. Righty-ho, little Markology here. This is your prescription to go home and practice with some purpose to turn the spin on that golf ball. Again, don't be afraid to put a tee in your glove, because unless you've got a very, very strong grip, the rule of thumb is if the tee is looking to the sky, the face is likely open. If the tee is looking to the ground, the face is closing. So when you're trying not to slice the ball, you always need to feel like you're turning the tee to the ground. It won't necessarily happen, but you want to be in that attitude. Notice how the face and the tee would be turning down. There the face and the tee would be pointing skyward. Now, very easy to set this up. Alignment aid on the ground. I've used an alignment rod. And here you can take two rulers, you can put two clubs down, just some sort of a flat reference so you know where the target line is and you know where the inside approach is. Now, the first thing I want you to do is just organize yourself without hitting a golf ball. So the goal is to wind up and then return the club face somewhere between those two lines, yet the face is looking at the target line. If I was that way, where would that shot go? Yeah, to the right. You know that now because you've paid attention. So you drill going all the way down, and you see I'm between target line and inside out path with a face looking at the golf ball. And you will feel how you have to move in space to organize that combination that will cause the draw shot. So now I have the idea. Now I get over the golf ball. You can hit it off a tee if you want. Good grip, good posture. Now I want to feel where I have to approach. I get that sense. Then I try and swing down and through the ball from that angle, all the while closing the club face, and you will see the draws. Very simple drill to do. And the cool thing is, you don't even need to go to the golf course to do this. You can practice this at home without a golf ball or with a wiffle ball. Do this, get the feel of it, because it's going to feel different, that I can promise you. Your prescription's not done yet, because now we're going to do this with a little more speed and a little more pressure. You need an alignment rod, you need something for an alignment aid, and a golf club, and obviously golf balls, and you measure what is basically a club length down your target line, and you take your alignment rod and you stick it into the ground so it's at about a 45-degree angle and looking down the target line. Now, you will see how the golf ball is underneath that line. If you want to make the drill easier, move slightly inward of that line. The more advanced you are, the more you can get underneath the line, or perhaps just a touch on the outside of it. Now, the mistake would be to collide with this on the way down. That would be your outside in path. So now it's time to really focus, because you've practiced this inside out move with the face looking more square. If I do this correctly, I won't hit that alignment rod whatsoever. So let's give it a try. Got to focus. Dial your attention inside the alignment rod. Perfect high draws every single time. This one's hard, but if you can do it, and you can do it with any club in your bag, you're on your way to hitting draws. I promise you. Call me if it doesn't work. Thanks for watching this video. Do share it with your friends, even your slicing friends. If you want to beat them, teach them to hit a draw and then beat them anyway. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned. We have more to come. It's my mission to help you reach your golf goals.